All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock, it is time for Veterans News. Hank Whittier is in the studio with a little bit of laryngitis.
Laryngitis this morning.
Got a special 1 hour show today.
I know it. Well, it makes Vivian happy, you know, and a lot of other people, too. So, listen, we do, unfortunately, though, have casualties. And Sergeant Curley will go ahead and take care of that, if you would, Sergeant.
Good morning, everyone. These are the casualties as of March the 10th. 11 military members died when their Black Hawk crashed during a nighttime training flight in the Santa Rosa Sound off Navarre in Florida Panhandle. They were identified as 4 National Guard members: Chief Warrant Officer George Wayne Griffin, 37, of Louisiana; Chief Warrant Officer George David Strother, 44, of Louisiana; Staff Sergeant Lance Bergeron, 40, of Louisiana; and Staff Sergeant Thomas Froelich, 26, of Virginia. There were also 7 Marines killed in that crash. They are Staff Sergeant Andrew Seif, 26, who had been awarded one of the military's highest honors for heroism in Afghanistan only days earlier; Staff Sergeant Marcus Baywall, 27, of Michigan; Staff Sergeant Kerry Michael Kemp, 27, of Wisconsin; Captain Stanford H. Shaw III, 31, of New Jersey; Master Sergeant Thomas A. Saunders, 33, of Virginia; Staff Sergeant Trevor P. Blaylock, 29, of Michigan; and last but not least, Staff Sergeant Liam A. Flynn, 33, of New York.
Anybody have anybody local they want to mention? No. Okay, Larry, if you would, please.
Okay.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I
Yeah, thanks, Larry. Hey, Larry, I don't miss the thanking our people who make this all possible, and with my voice cracking, if you could tell us about Bob Wines and Ford and all those other good people.
Yes, sir, I will do that. Bob Wines, of course, is one of the sponsors of Veterans News. Bob Wines Camellia Gardens Nursery, and Veterans News is brought to you by Bob Wines. They are located at 2610 Southeast 38th Street here in Ocala. When it comes to landscaping, Bob Wines has what you need. Everything from small plants to large trees, mulch, fertilizer, and much more. Bob Wines will even deliver, plant, and guarantee their trees. Bob Wines Camellia Gardens and Nursery has been keeping you blooming since 1952, and Bob Wines offers a 10% discount to veterans. The other sponsor is Ocala Ford Dealer, serving Gainesville, Leesburg, the Villages, and Bellevue. Their goal is to ensure that they are one of the best Ford dealers in Florida. They offer a great selection of new and used cars, financing, leasing, specials, parts, repair, and they have office sales lots in and near Gainesville, Leesburg, Bellevue, Daytona, Orlando, Claremont, Inverness, Dunellen, Crystal River, Palatka, Alachua, and Lady Lake, and the Villages, as well as Ocala.
Well, that kind of covers it all.
I would say so.
Two good sponsors. Yeah, we appreciate that, Larry. Thank you, buddy. Well, listen, today we're going to go ahead and we got Dr. Knapp here from the VA, the director of the clinic, and we're going to talk about the #1 killer of men and women in the United States, which is heart disease and stroke and related issues. And he's brought 3 of his smartest and best-looking staff with him, and we appreciate that. Dr. Knapp, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Hank. First of all, I want to congratulate all our veterans organizations in the community, and special thanks to Vets Helping Vets for putting on the Veterans Homeless Stand Down 2 weeks ago. It was a real success, just a wonderful event. And I know Hank worked very hard, and our booth was right next to his group, and we were so impressed with the work that they were doing. And finally, actually on my bucket list, Hank, is one of these days to see you in a suit. And actually you wore a suit to the Veterans Homeless Stand Down for 2 days. And you cleaned up pretty good. I was surprised.
The same suit and the same shirt and the same tie. And
Hey, please.
yeah, but I appreciate it. I don't do that very often. You're right.
Once in a lifetime. Well, what we wanted to talk about today, we actually wanted to talk about hypertension and congestive heart failure. And the VA has some initiatives going on right now to improve our follow-up treatment in the clinics on hypertension and congestive heart failure for several reasons. One, the most common diagnosis of admission to a hospital in this country, anywhere, the VA or non-VA, is congestive heart failure. And unfortunately, the readmission rate when our patients go home is extremely high within the first 30 days. And that's associated with all kinds of morbidity and mortality. And just by happenstance, the VA just started a new project starting yesterday. I was up in Gainesville yesterday in trying to decrease our readmission rates for congestive heart failure. And I think that really starts in the hospital, of course, but our veterans come back to the clinics. And if we're going to improve our readmission rates, we need to improve our outpatient care. So we brought today 3 of our clinic specialists. Sylvia Finch, our dietitian, who's been on the radio many times. She's spoken over at the Ritz as well. Charlotte Gary, our pharmacist, who again has been on the radio. And Cece Malera, our head nurse, who's always on the radio because she does so many things and wears so many hats. So we're going to talk about many issues today. But let's start off with hypertension. Cece, why don't you describe for us, and these values have been changing, what a normal blood pressure is and what are abnormal blood pressure readings?
Okay. Well, the normal blood pressure, really, we range it from 90/50 to 120/80. But as we age, our blood pressure change also because of the anatomy of our body changes. So at about 65, 70, we would say that our normal range will be considered, if it's 150/90, that's still normal. We consider it at an abnormal blood pressure when it becomes greater than 150/90.
Very good. What about special groups like diabetics? What are we shooting for with our diabetics?
Okay, diabetics, we would like their blood pressure less than 140/80. 130/80. 130/80 is the goal.
Good. And actually, I can tell you it's very hard to achieve those goals. And the data I've seen, North Florida, South Georgia, getting blood pressures less than 130/80 occurs about half the time. So those goals are very strict. And we're going to talk about with Dr. Gary medications we use to get those numbers down. Sylvia, what about the BMI? Because obesity is related to hypertension. What is the BMI and what are ranges?
BMI stands for Body Mass Index, and what we use it for is a quick and easy screen to classify your weight. There are charts that you can find on the internet and at your doctor's office and with your nurse, and I have one today. You can also, Anyway, so normal BMI is anywhere between 18.5 to 24.9. So that is a number that, again, you can ask the doctor or nurse to look up.
I hate when I have to interrupt you. We have a break coming up, but you had
problem.
just a few seconds, so we'll do it right now, and then we'll be right back. This is WOC. You're listening to Veterans News, a special 1 hour with Veterans News today, and we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds and some sunshine today. There can be a shower around this afternoon. The high 81 to 85. Partly cloudy and mild tonight. Those 62 inland, 68 along the coast. Sunshine and some clouds tomorrow. A warm day, high 84 to 88. For Saturday, partly sunny and very warm, the high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Holidays and memories go hand in hand. Why not make this Easter even more memorable by serving a honey-baked ham and delicious sides and desserts? Yum! Yes, the coconut and lemon cream cakes are back.
Enjoying the family, egg hunts, and just being able to relax without having to spend hours in the kitchen will make your day a memorable one. Pop on over to Honey Baked Ham.
Call and place your holiday order today, 861-0011. That's 861-0011. Honey Baked Ham, behind Best Buy.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services, when your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements. From damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
All right, 17 minutes after 9 o'clock, we will return to Veterans News now. It's a full hour of Veterans News, and that means there is more time for you to ask questions. If you have a question during the course of the show, the phone number here is 622-9622. If you're listening out of the area code is 352. You got a few viewers online, so they could be anywhere in the world. Hank, thank you. Or Dr. Knapp?
Okay, well, thank you very much. Yes, we certainly encourage callers. Anyone has a question, please call in. We have lots of, if I don't know the answer, we'll refer it to Hank. Sylvia, do you want to continue your discussion on BMI?
Sure. So, the BMI, body mass index, again, there is a chart and there is a calculation to classify your body weight. But one thing I always mention to patients is that the body mass index is strictly based on height and weight and nothing else. So it does have limitations. It doesn't say if it's for a man or a woman or age. There's no specifics for age. So you can plot somebody who's a bodybuilder, their height and weight, and it'll say they're overweight or obese, which we know is not correct. You have to look at the person, their frame size, their weight history, and their age also.
Very good. That's great.
And Doctor, you do have a phone call?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you put your headset on, you'll be able to hear the caller. I'll wait till everybody gets their headsets on. Mm-hmm. And if you can hear me, then you'll be able to hear the caller. Mm-hmm. Yes, you ever hear me? Mm-hmm. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air now.
Yes, thank you. Doctors, are those home blood pressure monitoring machines very reliable?
Well, we give, at the VA, we actually give all our patients with hypertension blood pressure monitors, and we teach them how to use it. And if they're broken, we're very quick to replace them. So we want all our veterans to check their blood pressure at home, and the answer definitely yes, they are accurate. I thought you were going to ask me the question about wrist blood pressure cuffs, which is a big ball of wax. And the answer to that is they're not bad. And lots of times what we do is, if there's any questions, we do have our veterans bring in their blood pressure cuff from home, and then we take concurrent blood pressures with with an arm cuff and a wrist cuff in the office.
I have a machine myself I bought several months back to moderate my pressure. And when I go to the doctor, it's it's almost out of the roof. And I don't know why, because I'm very comfortable being with the doctor. And I get home and take my reading a half an hour later, and I'm like next to dead.
No, you're asking the question about white coat hypertension, and I'm going to actually let our head nurse answer that. Cece?
Well, white coat hypertension is when the patient goes to the doctor's office and the blood pressure is extremely high. And they have associated this with anxiety we have when we come to the doctor's offices. And as we all know, one of the factors that does affect blood pressure is stress. So that could be the reason why you are having elevated blood pressure when you go to your doctor's office. But what you can also do with your previous question is how accurate your blood pressure monitor is that you use at home. What we do to our clinic is, if there is a question whether the blood pressure machine is actually working properly, we ask our veterans to bring their blood pressure monitor with them at home, like Dr. Knapp had said, and then we will compare the readings in the clinic. We will use his blood pressure from home, and then we will recheck it with the blood pressure in the clinic. And they're usually...
I've noticed with my machine a very interesting situation where after a night of restful sleep, I get up in the morning and take my readings. They're high. Why would they be high in the morning? When you're sleeping and you're at rest and everything else, but then during the day it comes back to normal.
Well, good question. I'll take that one. I'll ask you a question. What time in a 24-hour period do you think is the most common time to have a heart attack? And you would think that would be during the day when you're busy and arguing and working. And the answer is that's not true. It's about 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. And part of that is because your blood pressure is high even though you're sleeping, and that's your circadian rhythm. So what we recommend in the office is, I recommend the patients wake up, take their medications, and don't check their blood pressure. Get your medicines into you, and then check your blood pressure through the day as the medications are working.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a difficult problem. We deal with that every day, but most of the time we can come up with a solution.
You do have another phone call.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Good morning. I have a question. How is congestive heart failure related to your blood pressure being high?
Very good question. That's the gist of what we're talking about today, and why we're here is the most common cause of congestive heart failure in this country is hypertension, poorly controlled hypertension. And in the olden days, many years ago, when we all first started this, the blood pressure goals were 160, 170. And I remember seeing patients in the office 30 years ago, blood pressure is 180, and we'd think, well, maybe that's okay. And we've changed all the values, and as a consequence, the incidence of heart failure is dramatically decreased in our country. So hypertension causes congestive heart failure, and we really got a handle on this now in what we do in the clinics. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
All right, very good. No more calls.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, this actually gets us into kind of an interesting topic, and this has changed dramatically. In the old days, we just told our patients not to eat salt, but I think some of the data has changed. Sylvia, what kind of salt diet should our patients with hypertension, heart failure be on?
Well, if somebody is diagnosed with just hypertension, then we do recommend a sodium restriction of 2,000 milligrams per day or lower, which does mean they have to really cut out the processed foods.
Very good. Curly, is that an easy diet to follow?
Well, actually, once you get into the diet process, once you understand that, listen, this is your health and it's your body and it's your, if you want to die early, well, go ahead on, you do what you're doing. But the other thing is, if you realize that this is going to save you and going to make your life prolonged, then you need to start paying particular attention to your diet as well as whatever the dietitian tells you to do, because the main thing is portion size and not to eat too much junk. A lot of people like to snack on potato chips and pork rinds and that kind of thing. You have to eliminate that out of your diet completely.
Sure.
It's not good. It's not good for you, and it doesn't do you any good. It just fills up a crack for just a short time. So leave the diet, leave the chips and stuff like that alone. And if you, in my case, you can't even eat candy because it throws off the blood sugar to it.
Sure.
Like one little tiny drop of just let's just say sucker. That thing, and then you take your month to see that to get back under control. So you have to be very careful what you put in your mouth, and you have to be careful about making sure that it's nutritionally sound for you. And and you'll be all right. I've lost 4 pounds since I've come under her diet.
Oh, great. Okay, so you've seen Sylvia. Great.
Oh, yeah.
Great
job. She knows me. Ask her. She knows me. and what we were doing is, trying to cut down on all the junk food and also to cut down on a lot of the stuff that I have been eating. Primarily, I told her, I said, no, I got to clean up my deep freezer before I can really start, because listen, my wife, we buy bulk and then we portion it out. But anyway, we have, it's fixed now, so now I'm losing about a pound every 7 to 8 days.
Wow.
And I think it's great because I had got up to 272 pounds, and that's way too heavy for me because I'm a Marine and my fighting weight is 179.
You have another phone call?
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. For those that like to have a salt shaker on the table, you can use a product called Mrs. Dash, which contains no salt. It's a preparation that has different herbs and spices according to your taste. They make it in about 4 different flavors, and it's very good. And it has no salt in it.
Yes, that's a great product.
And it makes the food flavorful as well. It makes it feel like you don't really need the salt.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I think Curly was mentioning, we talk about the concept of empowering our veterans. In other words, it's your life, and we want to make sure that you have access to all the information and really get on board and treat your blood pressure and blood sugar. We have another call?
Yes, sir. And just so you know, we have about 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour break. Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Good morning.
Going once, going twice. You there? Okay, there. It shows that there's somebody there, but we don't hear anybody. Here it comes again. Let me try it again. Good morning. You're on the air.
I can hear it a little
Hi.
Barely.
I was wondering, can you use sea salt?
Sea salt.
Well, sea salt is, this is Sylvia, the dietitian. Sea salt is still salt. It's got sodium. So you could use it, but it's not any reduction unless you find yourself using less.
Okay, so it's not any better than regular salt?
No, I'm sorry, it's not. But some of my patients say that they use less of it because it has more of a flavor and a taste to them. So they find out they use a little bit less.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, and I think we're going to take a break in a second.
Yeah, we got about a minute before we have to take the break.
Let me just put a plug in for our dietitian after what Curly said. Curly's a big, tough guy, and he's apparently working with our dietitian. And one of the issues we see in our clinic is about half the time when we want our veterans to see the dietitian, they tell us they don't think that's going to do them any good. Well, it is going to do you some good.
That's right.
And when I was in the private world, we didn't have access to dietitians, and I really didn't have anyone to send our diabetics or patients that need to be on low sodium diets. And I think Curly gave a great advertisement for the wonderful work that Sylvia does in our clinic, and he just touched the surface, and we're going to go into a lot more of what she does in the clinic. She just does a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Take a break.
Yes, sir. We will take a little break right now. We'll be right back. If you have a question you would like to ask, Veterans News is a full hour today, so we have another half hour. The number is 622-9622. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A search underway for possible accomplices in the Tunisia museum attack, which left 21 victims dead, most of them foreign tourists. Meanwhile, Washington considering a point person for hostage crises around the world involving Americans.
California Republican Congressman Duncan Hunter is pushing legislation creating a so-called hostage rescue czar, and his bill has early support from new Pentagon Chief Ash Carter, who agrees there needs to be a buck stops here person. Some family members of slain American hostages have complained the United States didn't do enough to save them.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. Police say a Colorado woman attacked a pregnant woman who answered a Craigslist ad featuring baby clothes. The alleged attacker not yet identified.
Police say she allegedly stabbed the pregnant woman and removed her baby. The baby did not survive.
Reporter Chris Jose with Fox TV affiliate KDVR in Denver. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Do you run a small business? Do you want it to grow? Well, then don't let your business slow down or shut down because you lost your computer files. Get Carbonite and your files will be backed up to the cloud automatically. No matter how many computers, servers, or external drives you have, Carbonite has an affordable plan. Start a free trial today at Carbonite.com. No credit card required. Use offer code BACKITUP and get 2 free bonus months with purchase. Carbonite.com. Offer code BACKITUP.
In the time you've spent listening to this radio spot, you could have completed and submitted an entire expense report with a simple picture of your receipt. That's all it takes for you to get back to work and for your business to run more efficiently. To learn more and discover all the ways Concur helps manage your company's expenses, just go to tryconcur.com for a free test drive.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Your weekends are getting a little retool.
Swear to God, not making a joke.
Check this out. New shows? Check. We are Some new talent? Check. Let's welcome the guys.
Let's get it going.
Arnie Spanier.
Unbelievable.
TJ Reeves.
This is what you get.
Your weekends are on fire. Because that's how exotic it is. We are
All right, 27 minutes before 10 o'clock. We've got another 27 minutes of Veterans News, and you're invited to call in if you have a question. We have a special program today. Dr. Mark Knapp is sitting in here and answering your questions. And first, I need to mention the sponsors, and Ocala Ford is one of the sponsors of Veterans News. The Ford dealership is serving Gainesville, Leesburg, the Villages, and Bellevue, and they've got new and used cars right here in our area. You can go check them out. And also Bob Wine's Community Gardens and Nursery. Veterans News offers a Bob Wines offers a 10% discount to veterans, whether you are with Veterans News or not. just go see them. They are at 2610 Southeast 38th Street here in Ocala, and they guarantee their plants. In fact, they deliver their plants, the trees as well. Dr. Knapp, thank you, and we'll put it back to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's move on to treating hypertension. And many of you are on blood pressure medications, probably over the age of 70, about half our listeners. And there's a limited class of drugs that we start with. So we're going to ask Dr. Gary, our pharmacist, what about diuretics? They seem to be the most common class of drugs that our doctors start with. What are they, and how are they used to treat hypertension?
Okay. Diuretics are essentially a water pill, and they're very helpful in lowering blood pressure. Is also treatment of heart failure because they help the body to get rid of excess salt and fluid or water. So, like I said, they can be used to treat a number of heart-related conditions, including blood pressure, heart failure. Sometimes they're used for kidney and liver problems. And the main, side effect of diuretics is frequent urination. So if you do have to take a diuretic or a water pill, then it's recommended that you take it first thing in the morning as opposed to late at night, so you're not up all night.
Okay, very good. And what about if the diuretics don't work and my blood pressure is still high, what are a couple other types of drugs the doctor might use?
Okay. There are several types or classes of medications that are used to treat high blood pressure or hypertension. Diuretics is one, and there are different types of diuretics. Also, sometimes they may use an ACE inhibitor. And an ACE inhibitor is a type of medication that helps to dilate your blood vessels, so it helps your heart to work a little bit easier. Beta blockers are another type of medications that are used to help treat blood pressure. The only thing with beta blockers, if you have to check your pulse rate or your heart rate, because if it's already low, then we don't want to use that type of medication. There's calcium channel blockers that are also used to treat high blood pressures. A lot of times you do need more than one medication to treat your blood pressure. And there's also medications that are used in combination. It's one pill, but it's a combination of two different classes of medications.
I see. Very good. So if I'm on all these blood pressure meds, CC, what are some of the important things I need to know about checking my blood pressure at home?
Well, if you're taking different medications to help decrease your blood pressure, it is really important to be checking your blood pressure at least 2 hours after you have taken the medications, because that is when you will actually start to see how the medication's working. You want to check your blood pressure because you want to make sure that it's not making your pressure too low, or like some of them can also affect the heart rate that Dr. Gary has said. And there is one thing that we have noticed in the clinic, sometimes patients do come in, and we did mention about white coat syndrome, where they come in and the blood pressure is elevated. That's true. That's one that it's because they're anxious. But most of the time we see patients, they come in, the blood pressure readings are high, but it's because they have taken coffee on their way to the clinic, and or some of them have smoked. Like we have said earlier, there are different factors that do affect the blood pressure that may cause them to go high, and one of them is stress, another one is caffeine, and coffee, as we know, is one big source of caffeine. Smoking does elevate your blood pressure too, so it's important that before you check your blood pressure, don't drink any coffee.
And my first patient this morning, when I went to check his blood pressure, told me he just had 2 cups of coffee in the last 20 minutes. So I knew his blood pressure was going to be elevated. So if you're coming into your doctor's office, no smoking or no caffeine, and that may be one of the factors that causes white coat hypertension. Okay, very good. Can you tell us a little bit about, we have all kinds of programs at the VA for our veterans for hypertension. Can you tell us a little bit about the programs we have at the clinic?
Yes. For our clinic, we do offer that. We do have the hypertension clinic. We do offer, like Dr. Knapp has mentioned earlier, we do provide blood pressure monitors to the patient, and we don't just give it to them. We instruct them on the proper use of the blood pressure monitor. And again, to emphasize on that one, the proper way to check your blood pressure would be to sit on a comfortable chair with your back against the chair, your arm at the level of your heart, and with the palm raising up, you put the cup and then you check your blood pressure and make sure that your legs are not crossed when you're checking the blood pressure.
Very good.
So we have those two. We have we issue blood pressure monitors. We do have hypertension classes, and of course we do have our nutritionist. If they need diet support, our nutritionist is there. We also have CCHT, which is a telehealth support that they will provide machines for the patient's home where they can monitor their blood pressures, and it's recorded every day, and they have nurses and case managers that follows up with the patient and reports the readings if they are abnormal to the primary care provider. So those are some of the things that we have.
Let me just reiterate two things. One, I'm glad that you told our listeners when they check their blood pressure to check their pulse as well, because I always forget to do that in the office. And the other thing you mentioned was the CCHT, which is a fantastic program, and the VA actually will have a nurse give you a call weekly if you have resistant hypertension or congestive heart failure, and the VA will provide you a scale, blood pressure monitor, and when they get the readings and they send them to your doctor. And by doing that, it really helps your doctor and PAC team in getting medical problems under control. It's a real benefit. The other really interesting program we have, and we have a lot of patients, we can't get their blood pressure under control. And Dr. Gary, you have a program where you'll bring the patients in and sit and work with them.
Yes, we do have, like Cece said, we have a hypertension clinic where we'll bring the patient in, we'll review all of their medications, talk about dietary factors, and then adjust their medications if we need to. So, and we follow up with it. We follow up like 2 weeks or 1 month, after we make it depends on, if we change the medication, we'll bring them in for labs to check, because a lot of medications do require lab work. So I'll talk a little bit about resistant hypertension too. Resistant hypertension is when you have been on more than 3 blood pressure or hypertensive medications and your blood pressure is still not controlled. And one of those medications is at least a diuretic, which I talked about first, which is the water pill. And medications can decrease risk factors for stroke by 35%, heart attacks by at least 20%, and then heart failure. High blood pressure, when it's controlled, it can decrease the risk of heart failure by about 50%. So it's very important to have your blood pressure under control.
Very good. That thinking back to the question earlier in the program about white coat hypertension, and hopefully we're convincing our listeners that if we have blood pressures that are high in the office and not at home, that we really follow them up, and we have a lot of programs in place to make sure that we can keep our blood pressures under control to prevent complications. Okay, I'm going to move on to some really interesting. We okay?
We have 2 minutes.
Okay. In 2 minutes, Sylvia, can you tell? And Sylvia does some really interesting programs at the clinic. I am truly amazed. And one of them is her cooking classes. Can you tell us about your cooking classes?
Sure, thank you. Yes, I do cooking class twice a month, Tuesday mornings from 9 to noon, and it's just healthy cooking. But the main goal for my goal for patients is that they try to learn how to add vegetables, fruits, use fresh fruits for flavor, or fresh herbs, be it, maybe basil or mint or thyme or cilantro to their foods instead of sodium, and to use the fresh juice, maybe some fresh fruits such as oranges instead of processed sugar, and just introduce them to more vegetables if they're not eating enough.
Great. And how are the classes attended?
Not too good, but I'm working on that. Gotta do a little marketing, but I do the class pretty much regardless if I have patients or not. And a lot of people, I offer tastes if they're not in class, but they're waiting out in the waiting room. Again, this is the downstairs part of our clinic, so I'm trying to let everybody know about it.
Is it again?
Tuesday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. That's every second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
That's terrific. And a lot of our veterans are, have lost their spouses and are single males, and I'm sure need help with cooking and diet. Okay.
All right, Doctor, we'll take a little break right now, and we'll be right back. We've got another 15 minutes left in Veterans News. If you have a question, feel free to call. You're invited to do so. The doctor and the ladies here will answer your questions. The number is 622-9622, and we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds and some sunshine today. There can be a shower around this afternoon. The high 81 to 85. Partly cloudy and mild tonight. Low 62 and then 68 along the coast. Sunshine and some clouds tomorrow. A warm day. High 84 to 88. For Saturday, partly sunny and very warm. The high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will ever make. Be sure to tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when Bob Kennedy, owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing real estate. So remember, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty and your friends here at WOCA.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
All right, 13 minutes before 10 o'clock, 13 minutes left in the show. Veterans News today, full hour long, and Dr. Mark Knapp is answering your questions. And, Doctor, we have somebody on the phone. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for waiting. You're on the air now.
Oh, thank you very much. Hi, Dr. Knapp. This is Christine, one of your friendly volunteers. And because I do the telephone calls,
Hi, Christine.
It's a subject that I have to deal with frequent. And when I'm calling people for laboratory appointments, that we were told by the lab that it's okay to have a cup of black coffee before coming in for their laboratory work. And you know, as I understand from my husband who uses the lab, that they do get their blood pressure checked when they get there. Should we continue advising them that it's okay to have black coffee, or just keep it simple with water?
Well, let me turn that over to Cece.
Thank you.
Hi, Christine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. It is correct that when they're just coming for blood works, they can have black coffee. As a matter of fact, we encourage them to drink water so that it will be easier. Drink water, but if they prefer to have their coffee, they can have their black coffee. That is just for blood works. Now, if they're coming to see the doctor, where we have to check their blood pressure, we prefer that they do not drink the coffee before they come to the clinic, because the blood pressure will be affected by the coffee.
Oh, that is good to know.
Okay.
We can add that to our list when we're calling people. And I'm glad we brought that up, because, of course, a lot of people hear it on the radio, and we'll put it through the grapevine when I'm in the office.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I know when they call the patients, they do get a lot of questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's ask, we're running out of time, so I have a couple of really interesting other topics I wanted to discuss here. I'm going to ask Sylvia, our dietitian, about fad diets. That question always comes up, Atkins diets and other fad diets.
So fad diets are typically considered to be a diet that promises quick weight loss. And in general, most healthy, nutritionally balanced diets or meal plans don't produce quick weight loss. So fad diets would be a diet, yes, like a traditional Atkins diet, which is extreme low carb, extreme high protein. It's not a healthy diet. It cuts out complete food groups. So we don't recommend them. We do try to steer them toward altering that diet so that it's a little healthier.
It seems like seeing you and working with you is a lot cheaper than these diets advertised on TV.
That too, yes. There's a price for some of those, yes.
One of the other issues that we've dealt with, I've been in the VA this time around 11 years, and this is undergoing a huge revolution, and that is obesity surgery. Do you know where we're at with obesity surgery in the North Florida, South Georgia system?
Here in the North Florida, South Georgia system, bariatric, also known as bariatric surgery, is being done. However, it is being done not at the VA, but it's being what we call fee-based out. There are requirements that must be met for being approved for bariatric or obesity surgery.
Do you know what is the age limit?
I believe it is 65.
Yeah, that's
so there is an age limit, yes.
So with the non-VA care, and we'll talk about that probably next month, the VA is expanding services, and they're using services locally if we can't get them at the North Florida, South Georgia system. So two important things. One is Gainesville Hospital is trying to set up bariatric surgery. That program takes a couple years to set up, so we're not ready to go yet. Secondly, the VA will allow your providers to refer you out to providers that do bariatric surgery, but there's a number of restrictions. One is age. Two is you have to go through a weight loss program. Correct. And that brings me into the other program that Sylvia runs at our clinic called the MOVE program, MOVE. And they do require the individual to complete the MOVE program. How many weeks is that, Sylvia?
Well, the classes that I do, Monday mornings, it's a series of 6 classes. But to be eligible for bariatric, they do have to lose 5 to 10% of their starting weight within 3 months and then keep it off for another 3 months.
I see.
So a total 6.
Okay. So anyone that'd be interested in bariatric surgery, there's an age limit, and then you'd need a 6-month program. And what they're trying to do is there's a lot of complications with bariatric surgery, and they're trying to get individuals who are really motivated.
Correct.
And really are in good enough shape to go through the surgery. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that's going to change. Once we start doing bariatric surgery at North Florida, South Georgia, we'll talk about it on the radio. Okay, let's move on here. We want to hit to congestive heart failure in our last few minutes, and Cece's already mentioned CCHT and the home programs, but one of the most important things for our patients with heart failure is to weigh themselves. And why is that important, Cece?
Well, as we all know, congestive heart failure is the failure of the heart to pump blood to the vital organs, and the kidney is one of the vital organs, and it tends to hold on the fluid. So if we do not watch our weight, we can go into distress that will end up sending you back to the hospital. So after hospitalization, and not even after hospitalization, we require or we ask you to please check your weight every day. And if you notice a weight gain of 2 pounds in one day, we recommend that you call your doctor so that it could be addressed, because that means that your body is retaining fluid. Or if you gain 4 pounds in a week, you have to let your doctors know.
Great.
So that is the reason we want you to really check
And
your weight.
in the high-risk patients with heart failure, the VA actually provides scales.
Yes, we do provide scales for high-risk patients. Mm-hmm.
Well, very good. And we're talking about hypertension and heart failure. What are the other complications, Dr. Gary, of poorly controlled hypertension?
Okay, there are several complications with high blood pressure. It can lead to heart complications, coronary artery disease, heart attack, heart failure. Stroke is another complication of uncontrolled high blood pressure, brain complications, kidney failure, kidney complications, also eye complications, when your blood vessels are, I don't want to say thinning, but restricting, I guess, can lead to problems with the eyes, and blood clots as well is another complication of high blood pressure or uncontrolled high blood pressure. So there's a lot.
So we really want to prevent all that. So we really take hypertension pretty seriously. Let me move on to cardiology. How's our access, CC, as far as access to cardiology in North Florida, South Georgia? Were we able to refer patients up there and get service?
Yes, we do. We are able to refer them to cardiology. Okay. And they also, another thing that they have is in our clinic, we have the access for telemedicine also for cardiology.
I see. That's another topic we want to discuss, but telemedicine is where we actually have a cardiologist off-site, and we have a room at the clinic where the veterans actually come in and get the advantage of having a physician talk with them over a nice television set. It works out really well. Okay, well, very good. Let's talk a little bit more about blood work. We have our patients come in on a regular basis who have hypertension and are on a lot of medications. What kind of blood work and what things are we looking for when we do blood work, Dr. Gary?
We're looking at kidney function or creatinine. As far as blood pressure medications, a lot of them affect your kidney function. We also look, that's the main lab that we look for. Potassium or electrolytes. We look at electrolyte levels because with some medications, one in particular like diuretic can deplete certain electrolytes, so we look at those levels as well.
Very good. How do statins fit into all this? What is a statin and what does a statin do?
Okay, a statin is a heart protectant, or considered to be a heart protectant. So it's used mainly to control cholesterol, but it also has other benefits of protecting your heart and functioning.
Right. So we decrease all the risk factors. Let's just go over the risk factors for heart disease.
Risk factors of heart attack, of stroke, and heart failure.
So when our veterans come in and we want to prevent all the complications, Dr. Gary has said, we're looking at hypertension, we're looking at cholesterol, diabetes, and actually 1/3 of all the patients veterans that come to the clinics have diabetes. It's a very, very large number. Smoking, exercise, and the one thing you can't do anything about is family history. Mm-hmm. So if we can do something about 5 out of the 6. And we've had really, it's just wonderful. We've been able to start offering a smoking program in the clinic, haven't we, CC?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So we actually have, we start a new smoking program every 8 weeks. What we were doing up until a couple of months ago at the Cascades is we didn't have an on-site smoking program, and now we have Dr. Pan, who's been on the radio. She's one of our mental health providers, actually has on-site smoking program, and we do believe that the results are much better. The cessation rates are much higher if you actually can do it in a group, and you actually can do it face-to-face as opposed to long distance. Yeah, so hopefully by offering all these programs, we can go ahead and, decrease all our complications.
All right. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, everybody in the room. For the listeners, this has been recorded. You can share this and watch it over again, and it'll be on the WOCA Facebook page and the WOCA YouTube channel probably by 2 o'clock today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And Hank Whittier somewhere around here, so thank you, Hank. All right, thank you. We'll be right back.
Through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds and some sunshine today. There can be a shower around this afternoon. The high 81 to 85. Partly cloudy and mild tonight. Low 62 and then 68 along the coast. Sunshine and some clouds tomorrow. A warm day. High 84 to 88. For Saturday, partly sunny and very warm. The high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. 9 arrests in the attack on tourists at a museum in Tunisia. No group has stepped forward to claim responsibility.
ISIS, a prime suspect. Thousands of Tunisians have gone over to Syria and Iraq to fight with ISIS and other groups. Some 500 have returned. An anti-terror bill was being debated.